look, at the end of the day, real estate's all about the deal. If you find great deals, it does not matter what your exit strategy is. I mean, truthfully, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're trying to be a buy and hold investor, you want great deals. If you want to wholesale, you want great deals. If you want to flip, you want great deals. So the act of finding undervalued real estate is a skill that will be with you the rest of your life, no matter where your career goes.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of A-List Conversations in the Real Estate Investors Group. I've got a big guest today. His name's Ryan Pineda. Ryan Pineda has flipped over 500 homes and has more than 550 rental units. And he is the CEO of 6 different 7 and 8 figure companies. And he's also built a brand for himself and has over 1 million followers. So we're going to be talking a lot of real estate today. So I'm glad to have you on. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Thank you, brother. It's really good to have you here. So tell me, you started, at the age of 21, you got your real estate license, and you were making $1,200 a month as a minor league baseball player, right?
Yeah.
And then you started flipping houses. And can you tell us a little bit about your journey from, minor league baseball to like becoming, a big house flipper?
Yeah, man. Dude, I never wanted to be in real estate. I got my real estate license just to try and make some money and wasn't very good at it. Hated selling homes.
Yeah.
And, I kind of gave up after a couple of years and started just doing other hustles. I was flipping couches and furniture and iPhones and anything you could imagine, dude.
Yeah.
But, inevitably that led to me flipping houses in 2015. And, man, dude, it was life-changing. Real estate changed my life when I started doing, the things that I actually like doing, finding deals and being my own buyer and, making money. So it was definitely a interesting transition because I had to balance both. I was still playing baseball. A lot of people who are trying to get into real estate who are like, oh, well, I got a full-time job or whatever. I'm like, well, cool. My full-time job paid me $1,200 a month. And I had to be out of state for 6 months. So you can do it.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. And so let me just ask you real quickly on, what it was that you liked about, house flipping that really made you passionate about it and in order to pursue it, more professionally.
Dude, I just thought you can make a lot of money. I mean, truthfully, there was literally no other reason than that. I'm like, okay, well, if I find a really good deal, I feel like I can go make 20 grand on a deal, 25 grand. Like where else is that possible? And, I didn't think it was possible anywhere else. And so I just found myself flipping houses. It was nothing revolutionary.
Okay, that's awesome. So the money motivated you. That's great. So what for beginners, what is the first step you recommend to get them started in real estate investing?
For beginners, I mean, dude, you got to just first decide what you want to do, right? So are you going to flip? Are you going to wholesale? Are you going to try and buy rentals? My philosophy is just make active income first and foremost. So if your current job doesn't make active income, like mine, I was making $1,200 a month. You're gonna have to figure out how to make active income. Too many times I see broke people trying to buy rentals, and I'm like, bro, you're broke. Like a rental's not going to change your life. That's the dumbest thing you could do. Especially one vacancy, one repair. If you're broke, you can't handle that. So, I'm like, look, figure out how to make active income first and foremost. If you can do it from your current job or career, great. To me, making a lot of active income's making 250 grand a year. That's my standard for what I think. Like if you're not making 250 a year, you should figure out how to make 250 a year because that's where life starts to get better. At least financially. But figure out how to get that active income. And then from there, start using that money to invest into some long-term assets. And I don't say passive income because it's not, like this myth of cash flow and rentals is fake. So I say invest in long-term assets.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So when you mentioned active income, obviously you mentioned two options here. You said wholesaling or flipping, right?
Yeah.
Can you explain to someone, I guess the process, which is kind of similar, either, for both of, finding a deal and then getting that deal to an end buyer or, just to make the numbers work for flip?
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, real estate's all about the deal. If you find great deals, it does not matter what your exit strategy is. I mean, truthfully, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're trying to be a buy and hold investor, you want great deals. If you want to wholesale, you want great deals. If you want to flip, you want great deals. So the act of finding undervalued real estate is a skill that will be with you the rest of your life, no matter where your career goes. And, for
Mm-hmm.
me, I've bought 700 plus homes. And so at this point,
Yeah.
I've gotten really good at just constantly finding deals every single week and built systems and teams to do it. Um, and everything I do with each deal is different. Some we flip, some we wholesale, some I keep. Like it doesn't matter. It's the same process. So yeah, I think you got to find undervalued deals. And there's really two ways to go about it, right? I mean, you're going to
Mm-hmm.
first go after relationships. So that could be realtors, wholesalers, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Or you're going to go out and find them yourself, right? And so there's lots of ways to go out and find them yourself. You can go make offers on properties on market. You could do direct to seller marketing, which is
Mm-hmm.
what I'm a huge proponent of. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's not rocket science. It hasn't changed since I've been around.
Yeah, yeah. It's been quite the same. So on that, for most people, I would say the best way to go is to go direct to seller. There's inbound and outbound methods. What have you seen has been one of the best ways to get into it? With people that are
Yeah.
beginners.
So, you already mentioned inbound versus outbound. So, for the listeners who don't know, inbound marketing is when they respond to one of your marketing pieces and contact you, right? So,
Hmm.
I could have a Facebook ad, I could have a TV commercial, PPC, direct mail, you know, that I get in front of them, they fill out the form, and then we hit them up, right?
Yeah.
Outbound is when we go to them. They don't even know that, they're not interested at all, really, right? So this would be cold calling, this would be texting, door knocking, those types of things. And so, if I cold call 100 people, 99 of them do not want to sell their home, but there is one
Right.
who does. And, we got to just do volume to figure out who does. So, I tell
Right.
people like, if you don't have a lot of money, you're forced into outbound. There's really no other way about it. If you do have
Yeah.
money and, you're willing to go all in and you have some sales skills, then I would say go inbound. Pretty much everything we do at this point is inbound because I don't have
Hmm.
time to, go be cold calling all these people, right? We have money,
Yeah.
we have sales processes, so let's go out and just get leads every day.
That's yeah, that's great. That's incredible. You mentioned something about sales, which I think is very important. There's a lot of real estate is making the deal work for both people. What do you recommend for someone, to sharpen their sales skills? Um, what should they do? Is there anything you recommend, or
Yeah,
is it just?
yeah. Talk to people. Like literally, it's volume. Um,
Hmm.
for the first 10 years of my career, I never had sales training. You know, I
Yeah.
didn't even realize people needed it. I was like, what do you mean? Like, just close the deal. And for me, it was natural because I had negotiated so many things. I mean, to think in my other hustles I did, I was always making deals. I literally flipped 1,000 couches. So every
Yeah.
single one of those was a negotiation. Hey, will you buy it for this? And that, and
Right.
making low ball offers. And then you go to sell it, and then people want to haggle you on the price. And so you get good at negotiating. So then when I got into real estate, it was no different. I'm like, bro, I'll make a low ball offer. I
Hmm.
don't really care. What are they going to say?
Right.
No. Who cares?
Yeah.
So you got to just get comfortable telling people telling you no. You got to get comfortable making low ball offers. And that's really only the first step. Then
Hmm.
you got to get comfortable with the more intricate side of sales, asking the right questions, having great emotional intelligence, helping find solutions and understanding exit strategies. Those are the more high level things of sales. But most people can't even do step one. And the only way to do step one of just talking to people is talking to people. There's no, like, honestly, if you were like, Ryan, should they get sales training? Should they like uh I don't know, watch videos? And I'm like, no, literally just start calling.
Yeah. Yeah. That's totally 100%. You learn by doing the work.
Yeah.
Um, so tell me, you did not start, wholesaling, right? You started flipping right away.
Yeah.
How was that like, and what was the epiphany for you to like, like how'd you learn about the opportunity, and like who was in your life at that point, guiding you to help you, in this new venture?
I mean, dude, my path was super unconventional. So, I don't ever want people to think like they can follow my path. Very,
Oh yeah.
you know, very few people are playing pro baseball and then just winging it and maxing out credit cards and making it happen. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, dude, I mean, I didn't really have anyone at that point. So to give context, I had been a realtor for 5 years. So I understood what properties were worth. It's not like I was a complete idiot. Um,
Yeah.
I just didn't know how to get money. That was literally my biggest problem. I understood how to find deals. I did not understand how to get money. And then once I
Yeah.
figured out about hard money loans, I was like, oh crap, dude, this is all I've needed this whole time. Now, there were other things I learned along the way about all these other hidden costs when you flip a house. I was like, oh, dude, I didn't even think about holding cost. And I'm just like, oh, renovation, purchase price, and then commissions. Like, cool. But you realize there's
Yeah.
these other costs, and you're like, okay. Once I understood that, I was able to make offers the proper way. But dude, I got lucky, man. I mean, I learned from reading my now friend Brandon Turner's book on, how to buy real estate with no or low money down, and the book changed my life because literally money was the issue that I had to that point. It
Mhm.
was never about finding deals or being, bold and talking to people. That wasn't a problem. I just literally didn't even. I was like, dude, unless I save a couple $100,000, I'll never flip a house. That was literally what I thought. Because in real
Mhm.
estate school, they don't teach you about hard money loans. They don't teach you about any of that. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, when I figured that out, I just went all in. It was like a couple of months later, I found a deal because I read the book. I was like, all right, I'm looking for a deal. I know exactly what I'm looking for. Found one,
Yeah.
closed on it, bought it. 2 months later, I made 25K, and the rest was history.
Wow, that's amazing. And so let me ask you this. So what do you recommend someone start doing? Obviously you,
Um,
you say not to follow your path, which is unconventional. So what
yeah.
would you recommend, or what do you teach?
Well, once again, it goes back to active income. I think that too many people have this idea that they want to just get passive income because they're lazy. And
Yeah.
it's like, bro, dude, if you make 80 grand a year and you got kids and a wife, you're not doing it. Like your life is very
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
So we have to increase your active income. Like, why have a hard life, at least financially, for the next
Hmm.
10 years, 20 years until those rentals actually become worthwhile, right? Like
Yeah.
you could have a great life today. You could make 100 grand right now on the side, wholesaling or flipping. I've seen it happen many times, many
Hmm.
people's first year. So for me,
Yeah.
I'm just such a huge advocate of lifestyle and all that. So I'm like, dude, get active income as fast as possible. The long term stuff will always be there. I remember 2015, I started flipping and, I've probably flipped 50 plus houses before I bought a rental. And I
Yeah.
remember like old heads in the game were like, Ryan, dude, you got to start keeping some of these, man. You got to build long term wealth. You're not going to get wealthy flipping houses. And I was like, bro, I have to keep flipping houses because every dollar I make, I'm putting into my next deal. And that's going to make me another 25K. That's going to make me another 30K. And so I was scaling my business. And I was like, there will come a point where I will have excess cash or I'll raise private money where I no longer need to put my own money into deals to keep this thing
Hmm.
growing. Right. And that
Yeah.
happened, after my third year, or no, going into my third year, I finally got my first private money lender. And I was like, bro, if you could cover every cost with, buying the deals, um, I could scale really fast and it would help me out a lot. And he was like, okay. So he started covering all the deals. And then sure enough, I started buying rental properties and, you know, like I started buying them late, but guess what? Like,
Yeah.
we manage over 600 now. So it's just like, it's a fallacy that people believe because old people told them that and they got rich because they bought properties 30 years ago and they held them. And it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
but you see where you are today at 60 years old, 70 years old. It's like, I'm trying to be rich now.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to run before you walk. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense. That's really cool. So can you explain the process of flipping a house for someone that doesn't understand from start to finish? briefly?
Yeah, I think first off, you got to buy a deal right. You got to buy the deal right.
Hmm.
So, not without getting too in depth. You have ARV and all this stuff. And by the way, anybody can get like all of our courses and everything for just $3. So they could get it
Hmm.
at wealthyuniversity.com. Like you'll get my book, Flip Your Future, which talks about it. We have like 7 courses on flips, wholesales, rentals, all that stuff. The community, I have live calls on every Tuesday. You can literally get it for $3. It's crazy. So,
Oh wow.
yeah, that's why I'm like, all right, if you really like want to know the path, like there's a 5-hour course that really dives deep, but I'll give you the 2
Yeah.
minute version of, just to give you the overarching view. Um,
Yeah.
the 2 minute version is obviously you got to buy the deal right. Got to know your numbers, got to understand your cost. Um,
Hmm.
you know, and understanding your cost is literally the biggest thing with just flipping houses. Like, okay, what's my money
Yeah.
cost? How much is it going to cost for me to borrow? What's my estimated hold time? Okay, what's this property going to sell for when it's all said and done? Like, conservatively, not optimistically, but conservatively.
Yeah.
What's the renovation going to cost? And once again, not optimistically, but like, hey, even if I got to pad this because, there's always unforeseen stuff, right? And
Yeah.
if you run your numbers right and the deal makes sense, you got to buy the deal. Well, when you buy the deal, you
Hmm.
got to have money. And so, you're going to have to start raising capital from private money and hard money lenders. And, honestly, this was my biggest holdup. It's why I didn't flip a house for 5 years after I got licensed. And, when I realized that, oh, dude, like, you know, um, there's guys who will literally give me money for this, then it changed the game. And so, raising money becomes your next step. And I'll be honest with you, raising money is actually the easiest part of this business. People think it's
Mm.
the hardest, but it's the easiest.
Yeah.
The hardest part is finding deals. So
Yeah.
you got a great deal, somebody will give you money. And it's like, I mean, I always just give an example. I'm like, dude, if you had a house that was worth 400 grand and you had it under contract for 200, you don't think somebody would fund the deal? You know, like there's just easy money right there. So,
Yeah.
find the money. Next thing, you buy it, you got to get contractors. So, you're constantly looking for contractors and understanding your cost. And, so you get a contractor, they get it fixed up. I've never fixed a home in my life personally. I don't know how, and I never will. So, get a contractor. They're going to do a better job than me, anyways.
Yeah.
And, from there, once it's fixed up, go list the property with a realtor. Let the realtor do it. Once again, I'm an advocate for paying people, man. I'm like, dude, I'll pay the lender. They're bringing in the money. I'll pay the guy who finds the deal, whether it's my team or a wholesaler or whatever. I don't care. I'll pay the
Yeah.
contractor. I'll pay the realtor. I will pay everyone. And I'm just putting it into my cost. And, let the realtor sell it and I'll make a profit. And I think that that's where people get tripped up because they don't
Hmm.
want to pay other people. They're cheap. And that's why they're broke. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, dude, you want to go learn this business, pay someone to teach you. Okay. The reason
Yeah.
you haven't done it is because you think you're going to just podcast your way into it. Newsflash, you ain't. That's reserved for the 0.01% who actually do it. But the other 99.9% don't do anything because they have no skin in the game.
Yeah. Yeah. It's better to get it done than than never get it done.
Well, dude,
Have too many.
and that's why, like, our coaching programs were always 10, 25 grand. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to just do a test and see, like, okay, for $3, see what's up, you know? And like, you would be surprised at how hard it is to get somebody to sign up for a $3 thing. Like, it's kind of
Yeah.
mind blowing because it's just how people are. It costs, like, when I run ads, okay, I run ads to this $3 thing. I'll tell you the numbers. It cost me $120 to get somebody to buy a $3 thing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just crazy. I mean,
You would think
you're
everybody would buy it. They would just line up to get it, right? And even if it was free, it would still cost me probably about $60 to $80 to get somebody to sign up for a free thing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just it just shows how many people have like limiting beliefs that doesn't allow them to get the results that they want. But I know there's a lot of people in your community who have gotten results, and you probably know them. So would you like to highlight someone in particular that that you helped out create something
Yeah,
transformative in their life?
I mean, look, I never want to take credit for any of our students, but we've trained thousands of students over the years. I started coaching in
Hmm.
2018 and really started taking coaching seriously in 2020. And
Hmm.
I mean, dude, we got an event called WealthCon coming up on July 19th to the 21st here in Vegas. And
Hmm.
I mean, this is probably, I think it's our 20th one. And, we have over 1,000 people.
Yeah. Wow.
And, so we've impacted a lot of people. And then, we've had so many people in our coaching programs. And so, it's just like anytime I'm talking to somebody, depending on their situation, I can always recall somebody that we've helped that was like them. Whether it was a single
Hmm.
mom, whether it was a guy like me, guy in their 30s with kids and a wife and trying to figure it out, whether it was an ex-athlete, I can relate to those people, whether it's, whatever you can imagine. Like I've seen people go from 0 to 6 figures. I mean, we've I don't want to say created millionaires because, like I said, we didn't do it. But, dude, I mean, at least 100 people have made over 7 figures that we've coached. And so,
Yeah.
at the end of the
Yeah.
day,
That's
there's a lot.
that's amazing, and they get all that network when they join. That $3
You get to talk
coaching
to all of
program.
them.
Course.
Yeah, you
So
talk
so
to all of
that's
them.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. You seem to have gotten all this success. Just very much of a risk taker. Now that you're helping people, coaching them, how important is it for them to have a coach in their life so that they can get better results? Like,
Yeah. I mean, look, I still hire coaches to this day for everything I want to do, So it's like if there's ever
mhm,
a skill I want to acquire, I hire someone. And so it's like,
yeah,
dude, okay, I just talked about events. This is a good example. I hired a speaking coach.
mhm,
I paid him 45 grand to coach me for 8 weeks on becoming an even better speaker because I was like, dude, if I'm going to
yeah,
do events for a long time, this is an important skill to learn and it'll pay dividends, tremendously. If it gets me a couple of investors, if it gets me a couple of sales, it already paid for itself, right?
yeah,
Um, I've had coaches teach me social media. That's the only reason my social media has gotten to where it's gotten.
yeah,
I've been in masterminds for real estate. That's why I've gotten where I've gotten. And it's just like any time you want to learn something, just pay somebody who's already done it. Like they're going to
mhm,
fast track it for you. And not only fast track it, but they're also going to help you not waste money. Like I can't tell
yeah,
you how much money and time I've wasted trying to figure things out, trying marketing that didn't work, trying offers or beating my head against a wall, like wondering why something doesn't work. And then the moment I go get somebody who's already done it, they're like, bro, this is why it doesn't work. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just spent like so much money and I could have just had the answer way before I made all these mistakes. So, yeah, I just think everyone needs to do it. And I don't care if it's with me or not. Like, pick somebody that you resonate with. Like if they've got the lifestyle you want, if they're doing the thing you want to do and you trust them, then go all in. And
yeah,
people look, if you had all the money in the world, you probably aren't even looking for coaching, right? So clearly, most people are in the box who need coaching are saying, I'm not where I want to be, right? I'm not making enough money. I'm not, I don't have a big enough brand. I don't have this, right? And then so inevitably, money's always a tough pill to swallow with it because you clearly don't have enough because you don't have the skill. And so it's this paradox of like, well, how are you going to get the skill? You need money. Well, how are you going to get money? Because you don't have any. And it's like, well, guess what? When you start businesses, you got to borrow money. When you buy real estate, you got to borrow money. You're always borrowing money. You're borrowing against your future because you're expecting that your future is going to be better.
yeah. That's an important, principle right there. I think that's really important there. So let's get back to the real estate. So you transitioned to owning, rentals now. You have over, 700, you said. Again, like I know you focus on active income, and now that you got to that point, what have you done in order to be able to get such a high amount of rentals in such a short period of time?
Um, well, at first I started buying rentals just on my own, 100%. So I
Yeah.
would take flips that I thought were in great areas and whatever else, and I just keep them. And,
Hmm.
so I started building a rental portfolio like that. And then, one of my friends who does syndications was like, bro, like that's the slow method, start doing syndication. You can get a lot really fast. And so, I learned how to
Yeah.
start funds and all of that. And so that's where the majority of them are now. We got a company called Pineda Capital where we raise money and we buy multifamily and, you know, any kind of deals like that in the commercial space. And so we bought a lot of apartments now over the last couple of years. I've actually been not buying this last year and a half because the apartment space is in like a really weird spot with interest rates and everything else. So, um,
Yeah.
I've just kind of been chilling on that side of things, but,
Hmm.
I'll be jumping back into it here in the near future.
Cool. Cool. Yeah. That's incredible. There's a lot of people, that go after that route of being syndicators, and they go after it, with Grant Cardone, having this big coaching programs and all that stuff. He's kind of put everybody on the map about multifamily. So,
Yep.
yeah. So let me ask you this. So I know that your core mission is to help people become wealthy, without sacrificing their well-being and promoting a balanced approach to wealth building. Um, you've founded other businesses related to real estate. How have you been able to do this? To balancing, your time with these other ventures.
Yeah, dude. It's interesting because like I said, I never wanted to be an entrepreneur. I never wanted to be a social media guy. I just want to play baseball. And so
Yeah.
everything that's happened, like I didn't want to throw massive events. So like everything that's happened has just been basically like, I don't know, like taking one first step in something and then realizing, okay, I accomplished that. What's the next step? What's the next step? What's the next step?
Hmm.
And so I've constantly been trying, like, that's my whole goal at this point. I just want to get better every day. And so,
Yeah.
with other businesses and everything else, I've had so many opportunities throughout the years that, I've been fortunate enough to succeed in a lot of them. And then I've also fell on my face in a lot of them too.
Mm.
As I've
Okay.
done entrepreneurship, I've realized like, oh man, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. And
Yeah.
that's the hard part when you're really good, is because you have more
Hmm.
opportunity, you have the capability, but it's not a great decision time wise. It's not a great decision. Maybe it's just a totally different industry and the learning curve is too steep. And so, at the end of the day, I've had to learn that these last, like, let's just say 6 years of really going all in on entrepreneurship. Um,
Yeah.
but I would just say, like, as far as balancing the rest of your life goes, you just have to have like priorities. At the end of the day,
Hmm.
very few people are unclear on what is important to them. They say, "Oh, my family's important. God is
Yeah.
important." And it's like, "Okay. So, if I were to look at your day-to-day and your actions and how you schedule your life, would I come to that conclusion without you telling me?" And in many cases
Mm.
the answer is no. And so,
Yeah.
you look at somebody's life and I'm like, "Yo, so how much time do you actually spend with your kids and your wife?" Like, if you work 80 hours a week, it's kind of hard, right?
Yeah.
Um, how much time do you spend with God? Like, are you praying every morning? You reading your Bible? You going to church? Like, if you're not doing those things, then you could say whatever you want, but I would not believe that it's that big of a priority for you. When
Yeah.
people tell me health is a priority and I look at them and you can just tell whether health is a priority or not. And so that one's
Hmm.
obvious. And it's just like,
Yeah.
no, it's not. You don't care about being healthy, like clearly. So,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you got to get crystal clear and have a reality check of what's actually important to you. Do you say it's important or is it truly important to you? So,
Mm.
for most, like clearly I would guess most people here, including myself, business is really important to them. It's super important for me. Um,
Yeah.
but those other things are super important to me too. And so I know that I only have a limited amount of time every single day. We're all capped to 24 hours. And so if all of those
Yeah.
things are important to me, you know how you know something's important to you? You spend time at it, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, this is the crazy part that people don't realize is everything in life that, is important to you um, has different inputs and outputs. And what I mean by that is in business, I could build a great business that I work 1 hour a week at that makes me a boatload of money. Okay. Like we all agree we can do that in business. So you have
Yeah.
very little input. You can have great output. Now, to get to that
Mm-hmm.
point takes a lot of input. Don't get me wrong, but you could build something the right way that's very passive, at least financially.
Yeah.
With your spouse, that's not possible. I can't spend 1 hour a week with my spouse and expect to have a great relationship. It's impossible. So there is
Yeah.
no delegation for your spouse. There is no building this thing that's on autopilot. Like it takes time. Same thing with your kids. You can't
Yeah.
just spend an hour and think it's going to be good. That's foolish.
Yeah.
Same thing with God. You can't spend an hour and just think that's enough. It just doesn't work like that. Anything relationship based doesn't work like that. I can't delegate my health. Nobody's going to go work out for me and make sure it's good. So at the end of the day, like people screw up in thinking that they got to spend all their time in business to make money when in reality, that's the only thing that you actually don't. If you build it right, you don't. Whereas the other things you will always, forever have to put effort into. And so I just know that going into that, I'm like, I need this many hours with God, this many hours with my family, this many hours at the gym, this many hours playing golf. Like I know those things are permanent. There is nothing I can do to change those things. When you're trying to solve an equation, you take the consistence, the constants, the things that cannot be changed, and then you figure out the rest. And so what I figured out was, all right, if I want to be great at those things, then I only got about 30, 40 hours a week in business, max. Or else I start to sacrifice those things if I need more hours to work. And so I don't want to sacrifice those things. So here's the thing, I better figure out how to make the most amount of money in the least amount of time. That's what I optimize for.
Wow. That's that's incredible. And it all comes down to your calendar, right? So you live by your calendar. You make sure that whatever happens on your calendar is what happens,
Yeah, I mean,
and
look,
and that's
I'll be honest, my calendar's like nothing. Like if I was to screen share with you right now, it's like I don't even know if I can. It don't matter. But like today,
yeah.
I got a podcast with you. I got a call after this. I got another podcast, and that's it. That's literally all I have for the day. Now,
Oh wow.
granted, like I will still do stuff. It's not that I won't
Yeah.
do stuff. But my schedule is always free because like I want to work on the most optimal thing. I don't lock myself into meetings or things that I know aren't going to get use of my time.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's incredible. You would think that you would be busy just from what you see online. You seem like an active guy, but it's really further from the truth. I mean, you have just a couple of things on your calendar and you work.
Well, I'll just show
Um.
you. I think it'll let me share it. So like this is tomorrow.
Yeah.
I have one podcast tomorrow. That's it. And then, today I have, a couple of things and that's it.
Yeah.
Saturday,
Yeah.
I literally don't have anything. Sunday, I don't have
Yeah.
anything. So it's like, Monday though, I do my meetings. So,
Hmm.
you know, we have our weekly meetings, but then like I have nothing. So literally that's how I run my calendar, man. It's not what people think. I just keep it
Yeah.
all open and things still do happen. I meet with teams. I do things like, I don't know when you scheduled my assistant, but it was probably quick, right? She was probably like, hey, when you want to do it? And it was like in a couple of days or whatever. And you're like, wow, that's way quicker than I probably thought.
Yeah. Yeah. That is true. And so let me ask you this: like, what's your mindset like? Because obviously, you have a very unique way of getting things done without having to put yourself, through doing all the work yourself. And obviously, this has allowed you to schedule. So, what kind of beliefs do you have that kind of reinforce the way you live that maybe the audience could take, some insight from, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, look, when you're first starting out, right? So you're looking at where I'm at today, and probably a lot of people are like, well, yeah, sure. When you got other people do the work for you, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, no, fool. Like, it takes time to get to that point. But every step of the way to get to this point, I've had to make the same kind of decisions of what is the most important thing in my life. And then what do I do with the rest of my time that is the most valuable and optimal? And most people don't think about that, man. They just do what they know. They never think about new creative ideas. The reason I've had so many businesses and different things and taken so many risks is because I'm constantly thinking about new ideas. I'm constantly being exposed to new ways of doing things. I'm like, that actually sounds really smart. Let's do it. For example, right now, I'm always testing something. Like this $3 thing I was telling you about. It was a test from 4 months ago, and it's actually proven to be a really great thing for us. You'd think, like, how the heck could you make money from $3? That would be the thing you think, but then you realize, like, oh, well, then people, end up paying into a monthly subscription if they like it, and then all of a sudden some people want more, and so they buy other things, and then others are completely content with the thing they got. And so it's all testing. You wouldn't know that works unless you test it. Another example, we have a brand new company called Lead Kitchen. And so we do lead generation for real estate investors. And the whole way this company started was because I got sick and tired of paying so much money for my marketing. And so, I was paying, $800 a lead here in Vegas for a TV lead or a PPC lead or whatever else. I was like, I'm tired of this. There's got to be better ways. And so I started running Facebook ads, and I've run Facebook ads not my whole life, but like for the last bunch of years, not for direct to seller marketing, but for, events and education and services and my other business. I spent millions. I was like, dude, like I could probably do that over here and reach these sellers. They're on Facebook, it's not like they're not. And so, sure enough, I start running ads, and then it's like, wow, our cost per lead's only $200 now. It's not $800. This is crazy.
Wow.
And we're talking to the same kind of sellers. Like, this is a gold mine. And so, I start building it out and producing results. And then all of a sudden, my students are like, dude, can you teach us how to do it? Or can, I'm like, no, there's literally no way you could do it. Like, it's just, I teach everyone how to flip houses. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm like, dude, you could do this. But I was like, with running ads and media buying, that's a whole different skill set. You got to get good on camera. You got to have content. You got to have editors. You got to have videographers. It's not the same. Media buyers, copywriters, all that. And I go, I just can't teach you. It's just not even worth your time. And they're like, well, can you just do it for us? And I'm like, all right, well, probably. And I was like, we would have to just use my ads in your market, because I'm not going to make you go film ads. Like, that's going to take forever. It's not worth my time, because I don't even know if you're probably not going to be good. Like, you'll probably suck on camera with these ads. And also too, we have to make ads every week to keep them fresh, just like we do with content. And I was like, it's just not, you're not going to be committed to it. It's not worth it for you. And they're like, yeah, no, just use your ads. It's even better. I was like, all right. So I started running my ads in their market. And then sure enough, it worked everywhere. Like, the lead cost was significantly lower. Inbound leads, it was great. And I was like, dang, okay. Let's launch this to the public. I didn't really want to start another business, but like, clearly this is solving a need and there's huge demand for it. And so we launched, and now we're in a lot of markets, and I'm super excited about this business because it's very unique versus other ones. Because, the way we do it is we just take a profit split. We take 20%, they get 80. And, oh,
wow.
That's just how they got to cover the ad spend, just like any marketing. But, to use my brand, and we do everything on the marketing side, they just got to close deals. It's a killer offer. And my thought process is like, dude, if I got, let's just say 1,000 clients one day and I'm making 20% off 1,000, like, what is that?
That's sick. Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's incredible.
But I would have never stumbled upon this business unless I took a risk and tried it and figured it out and whatever. So, people just, they're unwilling to try things and think of like new ways to do things. That's what I was doing. I've been flipping houses for 10 years. Like, I've made millions of dollars, but I'm still thinking, how could this be better? I'm tired of paying $800 a lead. How do we do this better? That's what I'm always thinking.
Yeah. That's incredible. Wow. I mean, and it's amazing also because, when you're putting yourself out there in front of these sellers, you're also building your brand. And so in a way,
my product is another benefit for me, for sure.
But
there's risk to it too, because if one of these guys freaking says something stupid, I might get caught
Right.
in the crosshairs. So I mean, that's that's a downside to it. But overall,
Right.
the it's probably net positive on that front. But to be honest with you, I don't really care about that part. Like at some point, hopefully, we'll be able to not have to be me. It just so happens
Yeah.
I'm the best for what we do now, and so I'll make the ads and I'll do the thing. But hopefully, one day somebody else can.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to divert the conversation a little bit towards content now. You started creating content, and grew a following to like 1.5 million followers in like 2 years. Like, what was your reasoning behind building a brand, and how were you able to do it?
I think it was part of the same thought process I just explained. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
what's the best? Okay, with the current situation now, what is the best use of my time? And it was
Yeah.
like at that point in time, like the best use of my time was going on appointments and closing real estate deals. This was in 2020, and that's what I was doing. I was
Yeah.
good, man. I mean, I'd be locking up
Yeah.
6 figures of deals a month, and
Yeah.
I just started to look at the landscape and I just saw the opportunity of social media. And once again, you don't know if it's going to work. Like
Hmm.
you're taking a bet, you're taking a hunch, you're taking a
Yeah.
risk. And I was like, I think that I have the talent to do it. I also think that it's a massive opportunity that's going to grow. And I think
Yeah.
short term, yeah, I'm going to lose money because I would have been better off trying to close deals. But long term, I think this is going to pay off way bigger than me just continuing to close deals. And then sure enough,
Right.
it did. And it will still continue to do that, right? I haven't been
Right.
on a real estate appointment in many, many years, right? Because it's just not worth my time. So
Yeah.
it just goes back to I'm always evaluating what is the best use of my time. It's a question I ask myself every single, I don't want to say day, but every quarter, I look at, okay, what are the businesses? So to give an example, I do something called a stoplight report in all my businesses
Yeah.
and my life. So a stoplight report, for those who don't know, is like green, yellow, red. So,
Hmm.
if you're starting with green would be, hey, dude, we got to ramp up this thing. We got to double down. This thing is crushing, right? Um,
Yeah.
a yellow would be, hey, we're going to give this thing 90 more days. We need to see certain metrics before we're willing to, turn it into a green. Or if we don't see those metrics, we need to cut it and get rid of it and turn it
Yeah.
into a red. So yellow is this testing phase that I'm in a lot with most things.
Hmm.
And then red would be, hey, we tried this, it didn't work, we got to stop. And so for me, if I was to go back in a time machine there, I'm looking at a stoplight report and I'm like, hey, um, I want to do the social media thing. I don't know if it's going to work. Let's, test it. I want to see certain metrics in the next 90 days. I know I ain't going viral tomorrow, but I need to see
Yeah.
certain growth here in the next 90 days. So I'm going to test that. Now, in order for me to test this, I must give up going on appointments. There's a
Right.
trade. I can't do both. And
Right.
I was willing to do that trade. So I
Yeah.
stopped. I red lighted
Yeah.
going on appointments. And I trained somebody else to go in my place. And the transition was rough. I mean, it's not like it was like just freaking gravy overnight. He didn't close as
Yeah.
many deals as I would have. My social media didn't pop off right away, which I expected. And though, my company lost money. Well, not lost money, but made less money. Right. And it's just
Yeah.
like I understood that was going to be part of it. And very few people are willing to do that.
Hmm. That's yeah. Yeah, that's like sacrificing the short term for the long term. So that's really incredible. And could you speak on some of the most beneficial things that you have now been able to do because of your brand? Has it helped you recruit people? Has it helped
Oh,
you,
bro.
you know,
Bro, it's
like
not
I
even
just
close. Like,
these other things?
yeah, I mean, there's nothing. That was probably the smartest decision I made in my career. And, at the end of the day, I mean, it helps with everything, right? Your lead costs go down. It opens up doors for business opportunities. It opened up door for recruiting. It opened up door for investors. It opens the door for everything. But probably, in my opinion, lately, the biggest door that it opened up was just relationships with other big people. So,
Yeah.
like the fact that I've had all these guys, like almost everyone you've seen on social media, and at least as
Hmm.
entrepreneurs or real estate investors, on my show, in my office. Like they willingly came here and we hung out
Yeah.
and I got to build a relationship with them. And then now I can text them and pick their brain or, ask for a favor or they'll come speak at WealthCon, whatever the case is. Um, that part has been the most significant.
Wow. Yeah, that's incredible, and I mean that kind of catapults you into other levels, right? Because you have a bigger network of peers with more success. So obviously now you have the network effects of being able to tap into and build bigger things.
Yeah.
Um, so what would you say is kind of the big play for you if you were to say like the vision for you, like what are you looking to accomplish? Let's say in the next so many years or so.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't really look that far out.
Hmm.
I'm very like day to day, to be honest.
Okay.
Uh, I'm very, whatever thing I'm working on at this moment. So if I was to say, hey, what am I working on this moment? It's lead kitchen, with the leads. Cause I'm like, bro, a few hundred people, that thing's making $1 million plus a month with very little
Wow.
overhead. Like, why would I focus on anything else? Why would I even worry about 5 years down the line? Like, if I just get that right,
Yeah.
that sets up the rest. Like the rest happens if I get that right. And
Yeah.
I think that that's where most people screw up is they think so far out and they don't think about today. And so I'm always just thinking about today. Like what's the move today? And you know, I'm okay with however things play out. And I think a lot of that comes down to faith. Matthew 6:33 says, if you seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, the rest will be given to you. And so like
Hmm.
at the deepest level, but also at the simplest level, if I just pursue following God every day, the rest will take care of itself because he's going to reveal the path. He's going to open the doors. He's going to take care of me one way or another. Now, here's the thing. It doesn't guarantee I'm going to go have riches or I'm going to have lead kitchen will be a success or not. That's not guaranteed, you know? All that's guaranteed is that the rest will be given. Like I'm going to be good. And that's all I want. Cuz
Yeah.
I don't care about being a billionaire or any of these things. It doesn't matter to me. So, for me, I'm
Yeah.
just trying to keep it simple.
That's awesome. And I think this is a great time to end the conversation here. So for those of you that don't know you, where can they find you, and what would be a good first step to getting into your world?
Yeah. Dude, I think the $3 thing is so simple for people.
Yeah.
Wealthyuniversity.com, like that's the easiest way. If you want to follow me on social media, Ryan Pineda. So check it out. And for those who are super, experienced and willing to spend money on marketing, then yeah, I think Lead Kitchen, we can help you out a ton. So leadkitchen.com.
That's amazing. All
Yeah.
right. Great. Great to have you, Ryan.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
All right.